All right, folks, thank you for tuning in to the Metal and Wood channel, which is really kind of, since the video went viral, it's kind of taken a turn towards these Chinese chainsaws. But hey, that's okay, you know. It's like you go with the flow. So I've gone with the flow. But what happened was these gentlemen, I call them the chainsaw cult, and some of them have adopted that name, and they laugh about it. But this is really not quite a laughing matter, because I've discovered some anti-competitive practices here. And, you know, it talks about the Federal Trade Commission. So YouTube is a legitimate source for people conducting business. There's a lot of advertising going on. It's total advertising. It's total worldwide communication. And, you know, YouTube is not closed off to just the chainsaw cult. So when you got a group of people that decide that what they're going to do is that they're going to snuff out the competition, they're going to make it so somebody else can't enjoy their time on YouTube and can't have any success. And we're going to put a pause on this right quick. We're going to return here in a minute to keep you entertained. Okay, back at you here. So what is civil conspiracy? Did you know there's conspiracy that can be played out in civil court? So it's when a group of folks gets together, say the chainsaw cult, and they decide that they're going to do a little damage to you. Like, for example, do a fraudulent video after they steal some chainsaws, the Noker story. So, you know, the Noker chainsaws were stolen out of Mississippi. They were my own chainsaws that were left in good faith for an agreement with a guy that claimed to be a porter, had a written agreement, but he goes and he says I guess he sells them off to Mississippi. He ships them up there. Anyway, I got labeled the nutcase for all of this until I started putting serial numbers captured in videos. And then everybody realized, whoa, we can't really call him a nut. But then they decided to start up again on the outdoor power equipment form. Tortious interference. That's when people get, you can read it right there. It's when other people start messing up your business. And then unfair competition, when a bunch of guys get together and say, oh, we're going to talk real bad about them. So I got about 6 people involved in this situation. I don't mind adding more. I really don't. But let's talk about who some of them are, who some of them may not be, and what's going to happen next. Okay, so my adventures with the chainsaw cult, and my adventures trying to...
Seems like I've been painted a bad feller.
Trying to...
Iron horse guy.
So he's talking about somebody else here.
He gets on his YouTube channel and talks bad.
So he's talking about YouTube. YouTube talking bad about him. So this guy's Randy Evans, and I didn't realize I was going to cross paths with him in any kind of bad way. Bruce down there at HL Supply told me I could contact Randy and everything be okay, and I contacted Randy and everything was fine. Seemed like a real nice guy and everything, and he deleted all the Noker crap that all these people have, all the fraudulent things that people said about me and my my Noker chainsaws, and that I was a con man and all this stuff. So here he's talking about somebody else talking bad about him from just 3 years old. So let's see here. Where are we going on with this? Let me put one more thing in the mix here in a second. Here it is. This guy right here received these stolen Noker chainsaws, and here he's lying about not receiving them, and you know, it's none of my business where he gets my stolen saws from and how much he pays for them. You know, so he's on vacation. So this guy right here is kind of the guy that started it all. So I ended up contacting Randy Evans to get all the lies off of his form, the outdoor power equipment form. And Randy removed them. At first he said he wasn't sure what was true, what wasn't true. I said, well, I don't mind leaving the true stuff up. I'll show you what's not true. And he said, well, I'll just delete everything. So then it started up again with a couple guys. And I'm going to show you the chat records on that. Let's go to the chat records. Okay, so here it is. So they started up on this Noker stuff again. And I think the offensive phrase was that the guy's a train wreck. The Noker Joker's a train wreck. To me, that implies a mental health disorder. So this is HL Supply down there in Daytona. Now, Bruce seems like a good guy, but Randy Evans supposedly moderates this. So I'm like, hey, Randy Evans, you know, what's the rules, you know? So I said, who's doing the moderating? He says, it moderates itself. And he said, not too many overly thin-skinned, super fragile people on our forum. Well, he said, you planning on bringing a lawsuit against the whole internet? And so you can check this out. So I thought Greg Newman was a commenter, but he might have just been a thumbs-upper. I couldn't tell from how the thing's laid out. So basically, he says, right here, look at this. This is important. He says, maybe you should ask him to elaborate. So damned if I didn't go and call him. And he says, I shouldn't read the forum. I says, I'm not reading your forum. People are telling me, blah, blah, blah. Firewood hoarders, another one of them, blah, blah, blah. So Greg Newman called me back. And I talked to him, and Greg's like, look, man, I really don't know what you're talking about. And that could be legit. You know, he might have just done a thumbs up. And so Randy says, so you're upset because Greg liked the post and you're filing a lawsuit? And I didn't say anything about filing a lawsuit. I didn't bring up lawsuits or nothing like that. And he says, these guys are right. You seem to be mentally unstable. He says, that's me telling you my opinion. So I talked to him here more about this stuff. And anyway, he goes on and on. He told me I should contact and tell him myself. Did he not? Did he not? So he's like, shall I delete more posts? So anyway, I call him up. He says, you know, thank God you called so we didn't have to text back and forth. And he tells me to fuck off, and he hangs up. And then he tells me to get some help for this mental health disorder that he thinks I have. He says, you harassing Greg was a bridge too far. I'm done with your insecurities. Listen here. Did you not see him tell me to tell him myself? Right up here. He says, maybe you should ask him to elaborate. Okay, and now he's upset that I contacted the guy, and he's telling me I've got mental health disorders. I'm telling you, man, this is a classic mental health disorder you got.